Hello, YouTube. I am Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and we are generally on this channel going to be answering publicly posted questions from YouTube users. However, today we're working on our series of how to approach an employment attorney, trying to help folks to obtain representation because representation will help people in a workplace discrimination or workplace sexual harassment case more than you can imagine, in my opinion. So I thought this series would have real value. We're working on it. I have to say, there's a couple things I have to say. Like and subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. I did it. I did it. You're welcome. Everybody works, not everybody wins. We have a tagline. We have a tagline. Because this is the big time, baby. This is what we're doing. You can tell. It's the big time. All right. We are talking today about workshopping your claim. Can you tell it's late? It's late. You can tell because it's dark out. It's a blizzard. We're in a blizzard. So, workshopping your claim. Somebody commented the other day about their family telling them, like giving them a hard time about their claim. And this in no way is meant to relate to that statement. I'm sure that person's claim was legitimate, and I think that person's family was maybe being a bit jerky. But generally, if you have loved ones you trust, friends, family, confidants, a guiding star, a mentor, a rabbi, whoever it might be. And I mean rabbi in the like colloquial sense, not in like your religious figure. But I guess if you want to go to your religious figure, that is a person you might trust the judgment of as well, right? So if you have some of those people who you trust and respect, and you go to them and you talk about your claim, take a pad with you and a pen and just have kind of the high points of your claim, and do this hypothetically before you speak to an attorney, right? It's good to speak to attorneys, but maybe, have a conversation or two with your trusted loved ones first, both to gather support, right? Circle of trust, gather support, get a foundation, get centered, but also on your pad, having a list of the high points of your claim, right? Jot down notes after each high point. Oh, I told so-and-so about this, and they said that was horrible. They couldn't believe the employer did it to me. And then I told them about the other thing from the lunchroom, and they said, oh, why did that upset you? We have a stark contrast in how our trusted loved one has responded to two different parts of your story. And it doesn't mean that one part of your story is not a viable claim. Doesn't mean it by a long shot. It does mean we should take note of why this person who cares about us deeply, at least we hope, thought somebody did something horrible to us in one point and then didn't understand what we were whining about in another point, right? And as you go through, let's say you have like a couple of trusted loved ones, a couple of confidants, and you go through and boy, everybody thinks the lunchroom story makes you sound like a jerk. Everybody. Well, you don't delete the lunchroom story from what you're going to tell the attorney, but you do shift it out of the first call, right? Because in the first call, we're hitting the high points. We're making the case sound appealing in the hopes that someone will say, I really want to help you. I want to bankroll your case and spend hundreds of hours trying to help you. That's what you're looking for, right? And that is more likely to happen if the attorney hears good and appetizing things. It's also more likely to happen if the attorney thinks you have a good grasp on how to edit and keep a narrative entirely truthful while making it more persuasive. And inherent in that might be not emphasizing the parts of your story where maybe your behavior wasn't ideal. Or maybe you thought you were horribly wronged and no one else did, right? And families are wrong. And families are bigoted. And families fall short in so many ways. And the same is true of loved ones, right? I'm not saying you should be guided solely. So, I presume your loved ones, your trusted advisors may not in fact be employment attorneys, right? And I'll tell you right now, if my family called me up with an employment law question, I would give them my thoughts, and they would be like, "Yeah, but I want like a real employment. I know you. I don't get. I know you. You're an asshole, right? Like, you're not wrong, but I'm kind of good at this, in my opinion, right? But my point is, don't just believe your family. Don't just get rid of these things. But if you do notice a trend of a whole bunch of people whose judgment you value being like, leave that out. Miss me with that part of the story, dude. Maybe we have learned something about the presentation of our story. Maybe in the first call with that employment attorney, we leave the lunchroom story out. Save it for the second, the third call. Save it for the live consult. And you might even present it and be like, hey, there's one additional part to the story. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I just want to be upfront with you, attorney, and save it for the consult. Save it for the third consult. After the attorney's really got to know the case and is trying to help you, that's a good time to start, talking about some of the finer points, the detail stuff, right? Broad strokes to get your foot in the door. Here's the good stuff from the case. I think. This is the stuff that I think plays the best with the people who care about me. I hope, attorney, you might end up caring about me as well. That's what you're doing. That's what you're engaged in. You're asking for a pile of money and hundreds of hours. And it might be best to not add some of the parts that need some explaining. Because no case is perfect. Every case has parts that need explaining. No human being is perfect. No human being is perfect. I'm sure if I had an employment law case, I would make mistakes in the living of those events. Because it's a complex thing to do, and one does not live with the intent of having litigation, generally speaking. And if you do live with the intent of having litigation, God, I hope I don't represent you, because those cases and those clients are the worst. Like, what a way to just burn piles of cash and hundreds of hours of time with the plaintiff who lives for the claim. Like, let's stick to legitimate claims, not professional plaintiffs, right? Doesn't mean they couldn't have a claim. Does mean you'd probably rather be helping someone else, right? So I think I've gone long here. Long story short, workshop your claim. It might help you to get the representation you want, you need, and that might benefit you in a whole host of ways. Take care, everybody. Like and subscribe.